All right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fit Chicks Chat. My name is Amanda Quinn, and on today's podcast, I am so excited to have Glenda Costa joining me. Hello, Glenda. How are you?
Good. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
No, I'm so happy to have you. You and I go back, and we've had many, many conversations over the past few years, and so I'm just so honored to have you here. Now, for everyone who's listening, Glenda is the founder of Pursuit of Wellness. She is also a graduate of our Fitness and Nutrition Expert certification. And today we're going to be just sharing a little bit more about your story and sort of your journey to getting certified, starting your business, and what that all kind of looked like. Because I know there were some bumps along the road for you
Oh, yeah.
as you were going through it. So if you don't mind, I'd like to start off by just asking, why you got started in the fitness industry in the first place and what that sort of what was your why behind wanting to get certified and wanting to get going helping others?
Yeah, great question. So I've always had a passion for fitness. I played hockey growing up. I've done fitness competitions. I've always been in love with being active, being fit. But many, many years ago, so we'll call it the other life, I had gone through as a corporate accountant, and I'd put so many hours and so much dedication into that. Finding my way to being somehow in the industry just seemed impossible, or it seemed unachievable at the time. But I've always had a passion for it. So um, I had the opportunity when I was, unexpectedly not working in the corporate world,
Yes.
um, to reevaluate. And that's the time that I saw an ad for this Fit Chicks Academy. And I thought, let's see what it's all about and see if that's a good fit. And it lit me up. And I just knew, you know what, I have to finally follow my real passion and my real dream.
Right. And I love that because I think that, I love that you shared that it wasn't naturally the thing that you gravitated to, even though you loved health and fitness. It wasn't what you did in the beginning. You went and you did like the corporate job and you did the thing. And the reason why I love that is because it's so honest. And I think even when I look back at Laura and I, as the founders of Fit Chicks Academy, we both did the same thing too. We went to post secondary school, got the corporate jobs, and we just felt so kind of blah about what we were doing, for us at least. That was just sort of our journey. Was we were just like, this isn't what we're meant to do, and we knew it, and we were just happy that we knew it early in our careers so that we could just make the decision and just decide. We were like, you know what, we're just going to see what happens. But a lot of people actually don't know that, when we started Fit Chicks back in 2008, so over 14 years ago, we actually kept our full-time jobs for a year while we built our business on the side. So we actually did that because we wanted to just, it was almost like this little safety net, right? Of like, okay, we have our finances, we don't have to worry about it, we have all these things set up, while we could just focus on this and see if it's going to really take off. But I know for you it was really like you were in a position where you were reevaluating and everything else. So what was the transition like going into it as like a second career? How was that adjustment for you? How did that feel emotionally? How did that feel,
Mm.
mentally? Kind of like, what was that change for you? Did it make you feel inspired? Did it make you feel scared? Probably all of the things, but I'm curious.
I would say a little bit of all of the above. So
Right.
it was definitely scary, sort of thinking that, could I really do this? I've thought about it. It's been my passion. Now, the the corporate job allowed me to have a little bit of a nest egg. Um,
Right.
so I may not have still been working full time, but I had some means to survive while I built the business.
Of course.
So that was, something that was important. But I think there's just a point in time you just kind of need to go for it. And
Mhm.
that's sort of what I did. And you sort of take a chance on yourself. And it felt really good for the first time to like take a chance on you, right? I mean, I could show up authentically as me. I didn't have to, so that meant if my hair was in a messy bun or in a ball cap, and
Or a hat.
I don't even remember how to put on makeup, and it's just, and I don't have to wear nylons anymore and like just silly stuff, but I show up as me. So that was really refreshing.
Yeah.
And it was like it lit me on fire. Like I felt alive again.
I love
Like I think the corporate world, I mean, I can only speak from my own experience, but it beat me down. Like you start thinking that you really don't hold a value. You really start thinking you do really just become a number, and you're easily replaced. And I don't know, like, it sort of knocks a bit of confidence out of you.
Mhm.
So to suddenly be lit on fire again was just so exciting.
I love though that it is the small things, right? It is the idea of like, oh my gosh, I don't have to wear nylons anymore. I don't have to do these things. Like, and it's funny because I remember when we started Fit Chicks in 2008, we thought in order to be taken seriously and all of these things that we needed to have an office and we needed to be really formal and all of this stuff. And I share this because I think for anyone listening, you might think that you need to have all these extra steps, but it's really not true. So we actually got an office and we had it was off of Yonge Street in downtown Toronto. So for anyone who knows, it's like it's a very busy like financial sort of district area. We found it in like this really beautiful historical building and we spent all this money on this office. And Laura and I would wake up every day because we lived together at the time and we used to be like, I don't want to go in. Like, I don't want to do that. The whole point of us starting our business was to give ourselves freedom, freedom of choice, of opportunity, of freedom of time, freedom of creativity, all of those things. And we were like, we're putting ourselves in a position where, we're forcing ourselves to go somewhere that we don't want to go, even though we loved our office space and we made it beautiful. We just didn't want to have to go there. Um, and so it's just, it's funny how like it's those things that you don't even realize that you don't necessarily need or want in your life anymore, and then when you don't have them you're just like, oh my gosh, it's so refreshing, it's so different. So we ended up like we canceled our lease after the first year. We were like, okay, once our contract is done, we're done. I
Right.
think we went in there maybe like 6 times in a year. We used it as storage. Like we literally never went there because we just didn't like it. um we didn't like the idea of having to do something, right? And I think that that's sort of what you're talking to as well, is the idea of like the freedom of choice of if
Right.
your hair is going to be messy, if you're, going to show up in your sweats or whatever it is, it's your choice now. Does that feel
Right.
like so empowering for you now?
Oh yeah. And at the end of the day, the people that you're working with, at the end of the day, it's about them. It's not
Yeah.
about you. They don't really care what you look like.
Yeah.
Um, as long as you can help them achieve their goals.
Yeah.
So you get to show up authentically as yourself and be real and raw. And
Yeah.
that's not all, the tough part, I think, sometimes is that not always going to resonate with everyone.
Right.
But that's just the reality of it. But most times, more than not, you do resonate because you're just being real. People like authenticity, right? They just want to know that you understand their journey, you can help them on their journey, and you're just real.
Yeah. Now, what would you say would be has been some of like your most enjoyable moments of, this past year, like this journey of developing your business, developing your brand? And we were talking offline, and I know that you're doing some really cool stuff with like the paddle community and things like that. Like, what have been some of those highlights for since you've transitioned fully into owner of Pursuit of Wellness?
So, some of the highlights, definitely when you see people doing things that they didn't think they could do.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Like, so it's usually something I deal mostly with women, and seeing that they think that they can't lift heavy weights or they're suddenly going to be this like buff man monster thing. So really showing them that they can do things and that they can do hard things and that
Mm-hmm.
it's going to make them healthy and not bulky. So just seeing their results or seeing them accomplish something that they thought was impossible is really enjoyable. Um, Seeing people like sort of seeing things when you're writing out your plan, and so some of the when you're talking about the paddle zone, when I do some circuit training there, and when you're sort of mapping it out on your little piece of paper and getting it all ready, and then looking around the room and seeing that it's exactly how you planned. You've got 20 people doing different things and they're enjoying it
Yeah.
and they're having fun with fitness. um, that really lights me up.
Right. Well, especially because it's one of the things that, oftentimes we hear people say like, oh, I have to go for a run. I hate running or things like that. So to give them a place and give them an opportunity to fall in love with something that you're offering, I think is so exciting.
Well, and that's one of the things that I've sort of made, I guess maybe my tagline, but I want to help people fall in love with the journey
Yeah.
because wellness is a journey. It doesn't really have an end. You just create new goals and you're going on to new challenges, but we need wellness for our entire life.
Hmm.
And we need strength training as we get older, especially, but we need it throughout our life. And people have to enjoy it because they're not going to stick with it. That whole sense of a diet or that whole sense of you do this until it's like, no, find something you love and you're passionate about, and then you can continue to do it so that you're well for your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%. Now, what would you say has been like maybe one of the biggest sort of lessons that you've had that you want to share with people listening that are considering coming into this industry, that are sitting there thinking, you know what, I love health and fitness too, and I really do want to go in this, get started. What has been some of the biggest lessons that you've received for yourself?
I think some of the lessons that I've learned is don't underestimate the value that you bring to the table.
Oh, I
Um,
love that.
so don't sell yourself short. Like, I think most people that come into the industry have a passion and perhaps some sort of a base knowledge of health and nutrition and fitness before they even embark on coming into the industry.
Mhm.
And we forget, and we sort of think that everyone has that same knowledge. And I'm learning more and more how much people don't even know how to put together a meal, or they don't really even know what eating in a deficit is, for example, if they want to lose weight. So they think, oh, I'll just stick to 800 calories. Like, it's just, don't underestimate the knowledge that you bring to the table, but at the same time, meet people where they're at. Most people are really afraid. They want the results, but they don't really want to change.
Yeah.
And you have to really marry the two together and be gradual, and be realistic with them. Be honest that it's not, you know what, yes, I can have you a 6-pack by tomorrow.
Right.
You have to be honest with them that it is going to take some time and some consistency and a journey, but really try to make sure that it's fun for them, and sustainable.
I love that so much. And I think that the idea behind, not only meeting people where they're at, but then also just being really honest about it, really authentic about your training and abilities, and then not undervaluing what you're bringing to the table. Because I think, and you and I've spoken about this, where I feel like a lot of times when coaches are getting started in this industry, they undervalue what it is they're bringing. They're not seeing that they charge less, they offer things for free and all these kinds of things. And that's okay if that's what you choose to do, but it's not necessary. And that's my message always to anyone who's getting into this industry, is it's understanding like you can potentially change somebody's life. You can literally change the trajectory of their health for the rest of their life by the knowledge that you share. So value that, because they value that. And so you need
Right.
to value that as well as a coach. Excuse me. Now, last question I have for you, Glenda, is how would you say, taking the fitness and nutrition expert certification with us as a graduate of the Academy, what would you say um, really supported you on this journey? Or would you say that the certification did support you in being able to pursue this as a career?
I would say absolutely it supported me. It gave me the tools, the knowledge, and the confidence. But what I love about the program as well is how it has the nutrition component,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of people out there that have different certifications that don't come to the table with the nutrition.
Right.
And I mean, I think that's where people struggle the most. And it's where, I mean, 80 to 90% of the results are.
Right.
So having that part of it to be able to really holistically help someone rather than just give them something to do for an hour that's going to build some muscles, maybe if they eat right. Um,
Yeah.
I just love that the program allowed me to really have that holistic base to really approach it from all angles.
Yeah. No, and I mean, that's why we created it the way that we did, right? Like the marriage of the two, of having the fitness, the nutrition, and then the wellness components. It's like it gives you the full scope to be able to offer everything as one package. So it's not just in pieces to your client. It's not just giving them half of the puzzle. So
Yeah. And I will say this too, the support that that I get from the Fit Chicks community, but from the owners, from you guys, is
yeah.
second to none. I mean, I'm not a number
No, not at
at
all.
Fit Chicks. I'm Glenda at Fit Chicks. I have a different certification that I needed to coach at my F45 studio, but I'm a number there.
Right.
They don't know me. I don't believe they care to know me. And I'm not trying to knock other in any way, shape, or form, but just sort of saying that the extra value that I get to is that I have access to you guys, those that did it before me, that have great advice, great coaching, great mentorship. So I think that's a really valuable asset to this as well.
Oh, Glenda, I have goosebumps. I'm literally like, oh, it gave me all the feels. No, thank you for sharing that. And I think, it is something that we really pride ourselves on is the idea that it is about creating a relationship, creating a responsibility to all of our students, and really just owning, that and honoring your journey within the academy and every single person's journey within the academy and how we can support as best way possible. So I'm glad that that resonates and that it does shine through a little bit with all of our students.
Oh, absolutely.
That's amazing. Well, Glenda, please let our listeners know a little bit more about what it is that you do at Pursuit of Wellness and how they could get in touch with you if they're interested in learning more about your coaching.
So what I do group fitness, I do personal training. So one-on-one, I do some small groups as well. So I do personal training for groups of 2 or 3. I have access to some facilities if you don't have access on your own. And I do the nutrition coaching as well because I think that that's such a key component. I can be reached at um, pursuitwellness.ca is my website. They can get all the information there, or you can see me on Instagram, PAL Pursuit of Wellness.
Awesome. And for anyone listening, of course, all of the links to Glenda's information, her website, and her socials will be in the show notes, so you can check it out there as well. Glenda, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so grateful to have you share sort of your journey and your story with us because I think, again, what you share and showing people that it is possible to have a second career and an opportunity to be able to be making an impact in this industry is really important for people to know that it is possible. So thank you so much for sharing that today. And for everyone listening, thank you so much for checking out Fit Chicks Chat this week. We will see you again next week. And make sure you check out the show notes for more details on Glenda and how you can reach her. Bye, everyone.